Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise pros, Stan the Man, Paul Segreto. Time to show you the way of franchising today. Hey, do you possess the spirit of an entrepreneur? Wanna lay your business plan down like a rug or a floor? Or maybe you have a dream of opening a chain of delis, or whatever passion lights that pilot light under your belly. Or do you want to start a business, fam, using the proven trademark from another brand? And grow together and expand like a rage of fire, from a single to a multi-unit empire. Well, pay attention to this podcast that you hear streaming in HD, so fine-tune both of your ears. And Stan and Paul lays down the law. Whether you want to be a franchisee or a franchisor, it's all about sustainable growth, the sensible franchising, proven concepts, the smart enterprising. So use your left and right side of your brain and absorb this knowledge here, franchising today. Badlands, baby. Franchising today. Sustainable growth, the sensible franchising. Franchise today. Sustainable growth, the sensible franchising. Franchise today. Franchising today. Franchising today. Yeah.
Hello, everyone in the franchise world. My name is Paul Segreto, and this is Franchise Today. It is Wednesday, November 15th, 2017. I'm reporting from the Franchise Brokers Association Conference in Orlando, Florida. And my counterpart, Stan, the man, Friedman. Stan, where are you today?
Happy to report, Paul. I am in terra firma in Atlanta, Georgia for the first time in about, 2 or 3 weeks. It feels good to revisit my office and get reacquainted with my office here. It's been a long road trip, but happy to be home, Paul.
Well, that was good. Yeah, you were at, the Emerging Brands. We were together out in L.A. It was good to see you there. We don't get to see each other enough. And it looks like this crazy time in franchising with all our travel is kind of slowing down a little bit as we head down the home stretch of 2017. But guess what? Right around the corner, early this year, is the IFA convention at Franchise Expo South. So we'll be kicking it up in January this year. I remember, years ago, we didn't really have anything in January. It hit hard in February.
Yeah, those days are gone. I think the franchise calendar is just, the same way as the business is growing and more people are finding their way in. More and more conferences and overlaps for scheduling are going to continue to, and it's good stuff. I mean, it's a reflection of how hot the segment is. And the more of that, the better. As much as you and me continue to complain about, too many airplane trips, the truth of the matter is we're both grateful that there are so many places to go and meet people who have so many things to share and talk about in regard to the growth and the further development of the franchise business model. So we gripe because we're old, Paul, but you know what? It's all good.
Yeah, it's definitely all good. And certainly it is an exciting time in franchising, and I'm really curious to get your opinion on the latest news from Rourke Capital, a $2.3 billion offer for Buffalo Wild Wings. Of course, we had Scott Larry, a co-founder, on a couple of months ago. Any thoughts on that?
It's interesting. I talked to Scott yesterday when I heard the news, and this is a pretty big and substantial offer, but it's an offer that I think is going to see some competition. I believe the $2.3 billion put the price at $150 per share, or 10 times EBITDA. But I think there's going to be competitive bidding. I don't think it's over. I think this is going to go higher. I really think, and Scott did too, that going private would be a good thing for the company to be able to regroup and do some things without the pressure and scrutiny of shareholders to report to kind of put a longer hockey stick out there to take the brand and remold the clay a little bit and bring back some of that early stage magic that was B-Dubs before it became a public entity. And, I always think in public entities have a real problem in franchising because you've got too many masters to report to. You've got shareholders and stakeholders, and too often those shareholders are, the fiduciaries are to them, the stakeholders of the franchisees, and the franchisor sits in the middle of a dual-edged sword that's almost impossible sometimes to accommodate both the requirements. So I don't know. I kind of favor seeing that company or any company in franchising, frankly. I like the idea of private equity instead of public shareholder money and too many people to try to roll up to in terms of your fiscal responsibilities.
Yep, absolutely. So what else is going on in the world of franchising?
Well, it's kind of interesting to have Lonnie Helgerson as our guest today, who's got so many of his fingerprints involved in VetFran. I just wanted to call out the fact that there are a couple of things this month, because this was Veterans Day month, going on. IHOP is helping to offer college scholarships for kids who lost parents serving in the military as part of the partnership with the Children of the Fallen Patriots Foundation. So $1 for every red, white, and blue combo sold at any of its locations throughout November is going to support those kids and help them get to college. Also this month, President trumped historical month of November and decided that Veterans Day was a good idea, but Veterans Month is a much better one. And so while Veterans Day has come and gone, Donald Trump just proclaimed the entire month of November Veterans Month, and the IFA and all of its membership and franchising communities celebrate that. And can't think enough of anything more that the electorate could do better than that. But, hey, the Congress woke up on another front, Paul, and the House Republicans last week actually did something productive, and they got their teeth into getting rid of joint employment. So, we're one step closer with that House vote last Tuesday night to seeing the whole joint employment issue roll back from the overreach that has been a battle that IFA has been fighting fiercely over the last many months. So now we'll see where the Senate goes with it, but it's a really good beginning, isn't it?
Well, that's good.
And then the only other
beginnings. Oh, wait, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Only one other thing I wanted to call out this front of the house today before we get into further discussion with our guest is a happy birthday wish to one of our good friends, one and all, and that's Rebecca Monet, celebrating a birthday today.
So I had wished Rebecca, we sat on a panel of experts just an hour ago and wished her a happy birthday in front of everybody and got the entire association singing happy birthday. And then somebody broke into, I guess, an old tune about skipping around the room. And Rebecca threw her shoes off, got off the stage, and skipped around the entire ballroom and came back on stage. Yes, happy birthday, Rebecca. It was great. What a ball of life. And also, too, I want to congratulate her being a grandparent again, which stands the reason why she wasn't in L.A. At the expo. She was by her child's side, having a new grandchild being brought into the world. So congratulations on a lot of fronts.
Ditto that, and you celebrated her today at the conference. Happy to do it here for our audience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about, beginnings. And I just want to do a shout-out, and I'm going to allow you to do it because we had a very nice compliment from one of our former guests, Jason Griggs from Max Out, who heard, I guess, for the first time, our opening jingle. And I think we need to give credit to the individual that sings that. Stan, you know him, so I'll allow you to the honors on this.
Yeah, it could be the first time Lonnie's ever been on a program that opened up with a rap, too, but he can tell us more about that in a minute. That whole ditty was done by a really good friend of mine whose name is Eric Booker. Those of us who know him really well know him as Badlands Booker, who is a very talented rapper, composer. He had about 8 minutes worth of information from me as to what I was looking for that show opener, and that's what came back. You'd think he'd been in franchising his whole life because he just nailed it. But Eric is a competitive eater. He's part of the International Federation of Competitive Eating, Major League Eating, tours the world and the country, well, mostly the country, sometimes the world, with Joey Chestnut and Sonia the Black Widow Thomas and all the eaters, Nathan's Coney Island, and of course I know him from 15 years in Buffalo, New York at the National Buffalo Wing Fest. So thanks, Eric Badlands, for all the work you do and for helping Paul and me open up this podcast every week.
And thanks for fans like Jason who lets us know. We always love hearing from our audience, and that was nice. A nice shout out today. So today we are welcoming back, serial franpreneur Lonnie Helgerson. I want to discuss with Lonnie, his newest venture, Kix Mobile. I want to talk about his book, Five Pennies, which is become a Bible, so to speak, and I'm sure Lonnie utilized some of the principles in there in launching this new brand. And, of course, as you said, it's fitting that Lonnie's back with us during Veterans Month because he's one of the ones very instrumental in the whole vet fran thing. So without further ado, Lonnie, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, gentlemen, and thanks for having me on.
Now, we're not going to ask you to rap. Okay, because I think that would be just on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Hey, so, I want to give a shout-out to Badlands, baby. He does well on that ditty.
Yeah, he really did. Like Stan said, Stan only gave him a little bit of information, and you would think this guy was in franchising his whole life. I mean,
no doubt.
He nailed it. It was great. So, Lonnie, just to reintroduce you to our audience, I'd like you to just kind of go back on some of the things that you've done over the years, leading up to, of course, authoring the book Five Pennies, which I think is brilliant, and then, of course, what you've been doing since then, and now launching another brand. So take us up to date.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me back on the show again. I think I've been on here a couple times now, so I appreciate that. I've been in franchising pretty much all my life, literally. Stan mentioned vet fran a little earlier, and we'll touch on that. But, I was in the military, and I came straight into franchising from the military. And it's better than over 35 years ago, or whatever the number is these days. And, it's something that I've always done. I found it interesting. I listened to the show, and a lot of the people that you guys interview kind of get into franchising by accident. And for me, it was a very deliberate jump for me. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to be, and I wound up in it on purpose. And I find it fascinating, listening to the people that talk about how they get into the business. But I started with a company at the time was very small called Super 8 Motels back in the 80s. Right, fresh out of the military, and I was with that company for almost 10 years, and I think we had a couple hundred properties when I started, or less, and when I left the company, we had over 1,300, and we were opening up. At that time, we were building new construction right around 100, 150 properties a year. With some exciting times, we were growing extraordinarily fast. Hiring people, putting up buildings at headquarters. It was just a blast. And I left that company to start my own franchise company. That was a deliberate act at that time, and I started a company, a couple companies actually. One was called Computer Doctor, which we grew to a very large size throughout the United States, and another which was primarily focused on consumer technology. Interesting. We're going to be talking about that again today, only with a different brand. And then also started a company called Expotech, which was a company that was in technology but was focused on the B2B side of it. So we were touching on both sides of that. And ultimately, we had a great run with that company. Expotech is still running strong. Computer Doctor ran its course, as you know, in consumer computers. That market dissipated a bit, much like the video stores did. But we had a great run with that brand, and ultimately I sold that out, moved to Florida, and have been since then working with many companies, both on the consulting side and also running a number of companies as a CEO throughout the years. But most recent, I've been spending quite a bit of time working with a handful of clients, franchise companies that are fairly new, that I sit on their board and advise them how to grow their company and grow it in the right way, and so forth. And then also have been dabbling around owning a couple of franchise brands of myself, my own. One most recently was Island Time Treasures, which we just exited out of that and sold that to one of our dealers. And they've taken and bought the brand and are running with it, and focusing my time on Kix Mobile, which is the new thing.
I got a question for you, Lonnie, that you and I dabbled in a bit of conversation about yesterday in preparation for today's program. Mm-hmm. You know, I know that there's an old saying that says if you want things done, if you want to get things done, give them to a busy person to do. If you need to get things done, ask a busy person to do them. And I look at all the things that you're involved with and all the balls that you juggle, and I wonder perhaps maybe some of that military background is where you find the ability to discipline and to carry so much weight at one time. But consulting, writing, sharing with others, starting companies, building companies, I don't know how you do all that at one time, Lonnie, but I bet if there's one nugget you could share with this audience that would be take-home value extraordinaire, it might be the keys to the insights that would share how somebody can manage all the things that you juggle at once.
Sure. You know, and as I mentioned yesterday, Stan, and you're right, a lot of this falls back on my military experience when I was in the Army. And you know, I literally, live and die by my calendar. I am very organized and am able to switch hats very quickly. And so multitasking is something that it's not for everybody, but I'm pretty good at it. But, I run a pretty tight day, and I'm able to focus on one thing and then quickly switch and go to another. But, when you're passionate, like you guys, we know each other. We've all been in this business a long time. Passion drives most of my dedication to this. So when I get up in the morning, Stan, not only have that calendar, but I'm driven by what I need to accomplish in that day. So I'm pretty mission focused for that day on whatever needs to be done, and start and stopping meetings and just working myself through the day. But whatever it takes, if we got to work till 8, 9, 10 o'clock, as long as it doesn't take away from my family, we're good to go.
It's interesting. You could just tell a passion by, as they say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. And I'm looking at the Facebook picture from the other day, Throwback Thursday, and you write, "Yep, that's me, training Army ROTC cadets on rappelling circa 1983. Love that." Crap. I'll rephrase the word that you had on there. You could just tell. You could just tell. And if people want to see that, look at Lonnie's Facebook page and see this fit guy coming down the rope along the wall. That's awesome. Lonnie, let's
Paul,
talk. Yeah,
Paul, before you go, you just reminded me of something I saw this week that Pete Baldine had thrown out there that was circulating. I'm going to post it also on mine, which was a 1969 circa 69 picture of Jerry Darnell in all of his Army regalia.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen that, you got to see that too.
Jerry's looking good.
Oh, sure it was, man. He was looking like somebody I'd listen to if he told me what to do, and that's still the case. I don't know. Some things just don't change, with or without the uniform.
Yeah, that's great. That is. So, Lonnie, Kix Mobile, give us a little bit of insight. What led to this? And I know early on in your career, you had just a thing or two to do with Geek Squad. And tell us how this all kind of melded together and woke you up one day and you said, I need to run with this.
Yeah, awesome subject, and one I like to talk about. Everything comes full circle, as they say, and it's amazing what has happened in technology. And just to bump back a little bit to when I had Computer Doctor and Expatec back in the day, and we were with Computer Doctor. We were at the time. I'll try to keep this short. At the time, Walmart was just switching from their small format stores and starting into the super center era, as we know it now. And they were converting and building new stores literally on the super center format, much like Target and others were doing. And we had gotten a call from Walmart at that time to put Computer Doctor stores in Walmart. And long story short is we had this incredible media pop from it, CNBC, the whole deal. and we were structured to build out hundreds and hundreds of stores with Walmart. During that time period of that consumer computer period, I was sitting on the board at not at Nova Southeastern University, that came later, but at in Minneapolis at with Cheryl Babcock's franchise institute, and I happened to get introduced to the guys at Best Buy and introduced the concept of a store in a store with them. And the situation was, at that time, they had these service centers in Best Buy, but they were very small, and they were 100% expense for Best Buy. And as you guys know, retail is measured by, sales per square foot. You live and die by the maximizing your real estate. And our plan was to go in there and set it up on a rental plan, much like we had with Walmart, and create this income side for them. And that led to one thing led to another with them, and ultimately we were ready to roll out a 3-store test in Minneapolis, St. Paul, within the Best Buys, putting a computer doctor inside those stores. And they came back to us and said, well, we'd like you to do this corporately. And at the time, we had our Walmart tests that hadn't gone so well, and we couldn't do it. We wanted to put franchisees in those stores. And we said, they're going to run a tighter ship for you. They're going to watch the till better. You're going to have a better customer service experience, in our opinion, than just putting managers in there. And it was a deal breaker. And ultimately, about 8 months later, they went with a local company called the Geek Squad and put them in there, tested it, and we know how that turned out. So, looking back on that, you could say, well, that was really kind of a cruddy thing that happened to us, where we, we lost out on a bunch of money. But on the flip side, I have always had the opinion that there's always something bigger and better. If something doesn't happen, you get trimmed for some reason, there's something else that's going to happen. And I believe that, what we're working on as a project today with Kix Mobile has those legs. And so to fast forward to where we're at, the consumer market made a giant shift in computers, as consumers know, buying them in stores. That somewhat disappeared, mail order and all that kind of thing. And so I got out of the tech business, was out of it for a long time, but 10 years ago when the iPhones were introduced, I looked at this and I said, there's possibility of another product here. That everything's shifting, the technology is somewhat the same, but it's now become, mobile. And so I started working with some companies about 10 years ago, literally, and looking at what eventually became Kix Mobile and the iPhone or the phone repair side of this. And over the course was looking for some chains to potentially acquire and that kind of thing. And never was able to really put anything together with it. But about a year and a half ago or so, I met up with an individual by Amit Mehta, who is our business partner with Kix Mobile, who owns a company called TechVoo in Chicago. And they do computer repair. He's got a couple stores in Chicago, and he was franchising his stores. He still is. And I worked with him as a consultant on his brand, and we started talking about creating a repair brand within the space. And he flat out just didn't want to do it. He had been doing phone repairs in TechVoo, but comprised about 25-30% of his business. And he said, we just got out of it. And I said, well, why? He said, there's a quality of parts issue, there's a returns issue, and then there's a customer service issue. When those two things happen, that's negative. And he said, I just don't want to deal with it. And I said, tell me more about that. And ultimately, he explained to me that, after a number of months of trying to push him on this, that he would be interested if we did something called exchange. And I said, well, tell me more about that. And he said, well, what we did is we just take a customer come in with a broken phone, we give them a refurbished phone in return with a warranty and transfer their data. And I said, tell me more about that. And that was the beginnings of Kix Mobile about a year and a half ago, the very early beginnings of discussions of putting the brand together. So everything is different, but so many things are the same. And you look back on what happened to technology, the consumer computers, prices dropped, right? If you guys remember, they dropped below $1,000, and they became a commodity. And there was no money with that commodity. What's interesting today is prices aren't dropping on new phones. They're going up, and they're getting harder to repair. And there's an entire shift of people that are pushing away from the carriers. They're looking for more used phones, which is a big part of what we do. And, of course, exchange repairs is something we do. And that's what led us to the formation of Kix Mobile.
This past week I heard something on the radio that is probably one of the greatest validations for the business model that you're in. Do you know who Clark Howard is?
I do not, no.
So he's a consumer reporter who's syndicated around the country but based here in Atlanta with WSB Radio. And Clark Howard was doing a piece on cell phones and insurance. And he was telling the audience that these insurance programs that are offered by the carriers are, they're okay, but there are better ways to get your phones taken care of and protected. And he was talking exactly about third-party independents that are popping up all over the country with programs that might be a little less expensive and a little more attractive than some of those that the carriers are offering to protect those $1,000 devices. My question, Lonnie, is this industry moves so quickly and changes so quickly. How might that impact? I think back to my WSI days with franchising the internet, which to me was brilliant when Dan Monahan brought that to market. But that industry just moves so fast, and I'm certain that devices and the things that devices do is going to continue to evolve and morph. How do you see your business model being able to throw a net and cast a net over those fast-paced changes that come and go with technology and stay relevant and continue to keep you on the cutting edge?
Yeah, it's a lot easier than some of the existing brands are going to be dealing with it. There's a couple pain points out there that we hear specifically. Kix Mobile is, just kind of touch on the consumer offering. We offer what we would call a circle of consumer offerings. First of all, we sell used phones. We specialize in selling used and refurbished phones, specifically Apple and Samsung. We also carry a variety of cheaper new phones, like many stores do, but our sweet spot is the used phones. We call it fresh off the lot phones. So we don't carry the new iPhone 8 or the 10, but we're gonna carry iPhone 7s and 6s. So we carry used phones. That's primary one, number one. Number two is we offer exchange repair, whereby we don't fix the phones in the store. But if you walk into one of our stores and you've got a Samsung, an S6, we're going to take your phone. We're going to give you a refurbished, certified pre-owned phone, we call them, from Kix Mobile, the 90-day warranty on it. We'll transfer your data, have you out of that store in about 10 or 15 minutes or so with a warranty, and all your data is transferred over carte blanche. It's really a slick program. And then, by the way, one thing else we can do is we can offer you to upgrade. So if you wanted to move to an S7 versus the S6, we can do that all at the same time that you do the exchange repairs. So that's something that we do that the repair shops can't do. Third, we offer prepaid plans, much like many other stores do, accessories and also extended warranties. So we have a variety of tools, profit centers, as we call them, for our franchisees in the marketplace. But the two big pain points of consumers right now, Stan, is the used cell phone market is huge, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. It's about a $17 billion market now. It's estimated to grow to a $40 billion market in the next few years. It's enormous, and there's a number of reasons why that market's growing. People are moving away from the carriers. They want to be able to change their color, change their model, change their their capacity, change their carriers, and also get away from having to spend $1,000 or $1,200 for an iPhone 10. Particularly families have kids, like I've got 4 of them. I'm not going to buy them an iPhone 8, but I'll buy them used iPhone 6s or 7s or whatever makes sense for them. So that's one particular pain point. And the real pain point is anybody can go out and buy a used phone. You can go get one at Craigslist or eBay, but the price, there's a huge disparity in the pricing. You can look on eBay and you get one price, and you look on Craigslist another price, and then couple that with the fact that you may get the phone, you may not, and if you do get the phone, what you paid for, you're getting what you paid for. There's a lot of distrust going on there, and there's a lot of scams going on in that used cell phone market. So that's a major pain. The second pain is the repair side. You've got a quality issue. It's about 20% of the repairs these days, plus or more, some cases, have a return factor. There's always, not always, but sometimes there's something more wrong with that phone than just the glass is cracked. Maybe the camera is malfunctioning or whatever the case may be. So returns are a big issue. Waiting time is a big issue. And for store owners, if you will, there's always the need of, like you said, Stan, is every time a new phone comes out, you now have to have the store owner or manager has to be up to speed on that, but you also have to train your techs on how to repair them, and that costs money and time, and that's a significant investment. So how we cure those two pieces of is, number one, we're really positioned, Kix Mobile is really positioned as the GameStop in the used phone market. That's a big deal. And secondly, we provide exchange repair. And the good news for us is our store owners don't need to learn how to fix a new phone every time one comes out. We have people at headquarters that we're staying abreast of the market changes and the market shifts of what's coming on the pipeline for our franchisees, and also have centralized purchasing. So we are able to keep our pulse on the change in that market shift, Stan, so that we understand, particularly when a new product like the iPhone 10 and 8 were just introduced, we know there's going to be some slide in the marketplace and some pricing. So we're pretty up on that. Good news is we don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to train new people to do it, nor do we need to hire any additional techs to do it. No technical experience required for data transfer in our stores. So it's the tech knowledge has been scaled back significantly on what we do.
We're going to come back after the half break and talk more about just how large the opportunity is for potential franchisees to get involved with you. But before we go to break, Lonnie, tell us how many locations at retail are out there now and where are they?
We currently have a store open in Chicago. We have 20 under development, 3 opening up after the first year in Toronto. And we have about 10 or 15 or so that are under development in various cities, including potentially Atlanta. So we're coming to a town near you soon.
So we'll get into what this opportunity looks like and the different ways that people can invest and learn more about Kix Mobile when we come back from our break. You're listening to Franchise Today. I'm Stan Friedman, along with Paul Segreto, and we're talking today with serial entrepreneur, franchise consultant, franchisor, and author Lonnie Helgerson. Franchise Today is brought to you by the Franchise Foundry, where they've been bringing emerging brands to market for more than 30 years. The Foundry fosters healthy, sustainable growth for their clients, the kind that comes from experience. The Franchise Foundry provides both coaching and consulting, a hybrid approach. This delivers more effective solutions for both the franchisor's corporate team as well as for their franchisees. The Foundry's team is rich in practical, hands-on experience and expertise with general business management, operational and change management, digital marketing, and, of course, franchise recruitment and development. Plus, the Foundry team can also assist you with creating roadmaps for potential mergers and acquisitions and providing the kind of guidance needed to navigate them. Learn more about Paul Segreto and the Franchise Foundry, along with their expanding list of clients, at www.franchisefoundry.com. Franchise Today is also brought to you by FRM Solutions, offering best-in-class CRM and document management software designed specifically for franchising. FRM empowers real-time business intelligence, communication, and collaboration between all members of the franchisor's team and prospective as well as existing franchisees. This enables you to simply and seamlessly track, access, and manage all messages to and from prospective, and existing franchisees, including text. Legal and compliance is simplified too with FRM's document management, and even site visits can be managed, facilitated digitally, and scored with FRM. Make today the day you give FRM a look and assure that all of your candidate and franchisee correspondence, including texts, are being permanently tracked and stored in candidate and franchisee records. FRM even provides state-of-the-art digital experiences for your prospective franchisees, replacing old-style virtual brochures. No long-term contracts, no additional cost for multiple upgrades, which come several times each year. No excuses, just solutions on the web at frmsolutions.com. So, Lonnie, walking into the franchise side of the business, you've got as many different offerings out there, from single unit to multi-unit to area development. Let's get our heads around who it is that ought to be looking at an opportunity with Kix Mobile and who it is you're looking for.
We've, this type of business, Stan, is certainly a multi-unit opportunity. It's interesting the type of people that are looking at our brand. I can count on less than three fingers, I think, the number of people that have come to us looking to open up one store. We've had, and we're in discussions with people right now that have T-Mobile stores or Sprint stores or other brands that are in the mobile space already and are looking to diversify their holdings. We also have people that are in the multi-unit, food sector, where they have restaurants and a number of other types of concepts that they're looking to diversify. Of course, we know what's going on in the restaurant sector these days. So we have from day one teed up our company as a multi-unit opportunity because that is the type of franchisee profile that you typically see, or owner profile you typically see in this space. And so we do have a single store offering, but we also have what we call a three-pack offering at 3 locations, and then we have area representation, which is a larger market opportunity for those who want to build something bigger and help us build a brand by recruiting, coaching, and training and supporting franchisees within their market. The 3-pack is it's a $70,000 franchise fee, which is broken down. It's $30,000 for a single, and then we give a discount of $20,000 and $20,000 for the additional. But we do something a little different than other brands, and you'll see this maybe in the mobile field a little bit more than you would in other types of franchise offerings. But that franchise fee includes we've made a conscious effort from Kix Mobile as a board to co-invest, if you will, with our franchisees into their locations. So what we do is with that franchise fee for the 3-pack or single unit, we will contribute back $10,000 in rebate back towards store marketing for that local store marketing. We will contribute up to $6,000 for fixtures of that location, particularly store-to-store kiosks. We also will put in the point-of-sale hardware, and then we will also contribute up to $5,000 worth of inventory. So in essence, if they're putting in a store-in-a-store, what we call store-in-a-store, I'll touch on that in a minute, or a mall kiosk, you're pretty much, for what you're investing in your franchise fee, getting a turnkey store. And our goal is to get that store open quickly, that franchise owner open quickly, and drive that marketing. In this business, everything lives and dies by, digital advertising. And that's where we put a tremendous amount of focus on. When people are thinking about getting their phone fixed or they're looking to upgrade phone, that's the first place they're going to do is, go out and do a Google search. But in addition to that, we do a number of traditional advertising and tactics that, tie in with that quite well. But in a nutshell, that is the price for a multi-unit. On the flip side of that, for the AR, we just recently decided that we were not going to charge for area representation. Most brands, if you go to buy an AR, or brands that do that particular model, you pay an upfront fee for the X number of locations you're getting. We made a decision here recently that that we wanted to do away with that. And the reason why was we want to recruit people that have the right skill sets that we're looking for, that can build teams, coach franchisees, help them. We also wanted to attract industry or mobile industry skill sets and people from that industry who may have exactly what we're looking for to build out a highly successful market, but may not have that $150,000 or $200,000 it is to buy that area representative market. So we said, you know what? Let's reverse that. Let's do much like Subway did back in the day, still does, where we won't charge for those areas, but when we do, if you do meet our criteria and get through the interview process, that you're going to be held very accountable for building out those territories and for making those franchisees successful in those territories. And so it takes the weight off of somebody writing a big check, but it puts a bigger weight on them. Now you got to sell us and why you want to be an AR. And also our area reps also have to open up at least one store in their territory for a demo model, if you will, in the beginnings. So that's the gist of what our franchise offering is, Stan. But before I go into that, we do operate in different levels. We also we operate within malls. We have a store-in-store model, like our Chicago store actually operates in a computer store. We are in discussions with some other retail locations on a chain basis to put a Kix Mobile store inside of their stores. And then, of course, we have the inline stores or standalone stores as well.
So, Lonnie, I happen to have the honor and pleasure of visiting the first store up in Elmhurst, right outside of Chicago. And there's a lot more. A lot of our listenership will be sitting there saying, store within a store, and trying to figure it out. But having seen it, a lot of attention has been put through for branding and making sure that this looks, absolutely top shelf. Share with us some of your thoughts about, the branding, the design of the kiosk type location, the store in a store type location, what you went through in that process and why, because it really is second to none and very, very efficient.
We worked with FC Dadson, which is a well-known company in franchising space, retail space, to do our store designs, not only for our store-to-store kiosk, if you will, but also our inline stores. And it all revolves back to what we wanted to be when we started the brand. And, the name Kix Mobile, it's amazing. People are just enamored with our branding. And I believe, or we believe, the reason is it's simple. We wanted to emulate, when we started this process a long time ago, developing Kix, it was all designed on being first of all, we wanted a brand that we could sell a variety of products through. We weren't going to be a phone repair store, nor were we going to be just a phone sales store. We wanted a brand that we could move a variety of products through that pipeline without being stuck on a particular brand. For example, Computer Doctor back in the day, that was computer repair. That's basically what it said. And because of that, we were very niche. Kix Mobile was developed to be very, if you look at the fonts and the colors and the schemes and everything that's involved with that, we took all of those design elements from, companies like Nike. Apple, obviously, was a big influence for us. And we wanted to bring an experience to that. So our overall look and feel for the brand is very Apple-like. It's very simplistic, and it's also clean. But it works. Whatever it is we're doing, it's working well.
And it really is beautiful from what I've seen, as well as the technology that does the diagnostics on the phone. I was blown away. But you mentioned, very Apple-like, and I really believe it does look very Apple-like. But going back to the different phone manufacturers and stuff. What is the buy-in, so to speak? What is the opinion, so to speak, from the likes of Apple and Samsung around the whole mobile repair and exchange industry?
It's been combative. There's a number of other companies out there in franchising who are doing very, very well in this space, obviously. And they're facing some challenges right now with particular Apple. Samsung has really remained somewhat neutral on this front, but Apple has taken the opinion that that phone is theirs, and that intellectual property and those design and those elements and those parts inside are theirs. So they want, they don't want people tearing those things apart. And so they've been trying to wrestle that down, and there's actually been some legislative issues in a number of the states that what I call the break fix, or the repair guys or the repair companies are bringing to the states to say they want open architecture. They want to be able to access those phones and repair them. What's interesting is Apple does not provide parts for phone repair. The only place you get phone repair parts are from companies in China or overseas. Hence, there's a quality issue with that. And so when you get your phone fixed, you're not getting genuine Apple parts in. And so there's this big thing going on right now where Apple's trying to keep it internal, where in the phone guys are trying to wrestle that away. And that's all remains to be seen how that plays out. But for us, we're providing our customers with an Apple product that's certified pre-owned, and we're not replacing the parts in it at that point.
So when a phone is brought in and it's exchanged out, so you're sending it then to a centralized location to be refurbished. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we are using centralized what we call depot repair, and as we will grow, we will move that to the marketplace with regional repair.
And will these be, certified by the likes of Apple?
No one is certified by the likes of Apple. That's an interesting part of this. Yeah, there's ISO certification out there, and there's other certifications for quality, but those parts you can't go to Apple and buy repair parts.
So when you build out your markets, Lonnie, are your individual franchise locations going to be using one service center? Is it going to be kind of like a commissary might be for multiple locations around a city?
Yes, and actually we're testing that. We have, interesting enough, we have a number of potential conversion stores. We've had a fair number of phone repair locations that have expressed interest in. They want to get into the used cell phone market and so forth, plus they'll get into exchange repair because that's the direction it's going. And if anybody's ever had a warranty issue with their cell phone and gone back to the carrier and they end up with a new phone, you basically have gone through an exchange like ours. So what our vision is we move into markets and we're going to test the conversion of an existing repair store that will meet our criteria for repair and then provide those services to, say, somebody in the D.C. market or the Atlanta market, which will save the franchisees in that market a lot of money by not having to ship their phones back to the depot repair station when they can just put them in their car and drive them over, if they will, and pick up the others. But those locations will have to meet some really tight requirements from us, and of course, quality is a big issue. So the minute we start seeing quality issues, then we've got a problem.
Lonnie, I'm looking ahead. I'm thinking ahead, and to the next dimension of your brand's equity in its name, Kix Mobile, bringing the mobile vehicle and the repair to you. Is that something that's on the horizon? I look at those good-looking wrapped vehicles and wonder if we're going to see you going and picking phones up from consumers who don't even have to come find you at retail.
That's a possibility, but that's what we're doing on the B2B side. The other half of it, on one side of the consumers, but B2B is a big market for us, and so yes, we absolutely do buy devices. We are looking to buy phones and certainly looking to always buy quantities of iPads and that type of thing as well. So. Yes, the answer to that question is yes, Dan. That's definitely going to happen.
Lonnie, we've got just a minute left, enough time for you to tell us where people can find out more about you, where they may be able to find you at upcoming expos or shows, or how they can get in touch with you and learn more about the various opportunities that are being provided by Kix.
Absolutely. The easiest way is to go to our website, and that's kixfranchise.com. KIXfranchise.com, and there's a lot of information on that. I don't have the information. Where we're going to be next. I know we've got somebody at the FBA conference in Orlando right now. We work with a lot of different franchise brokers. So if there's any brokers listening to the call, please contact us, and we'd be glad to work with you there as well.
Email address, Lonnie?
Sure. You can just send it to franchise@kixmobile.com.
Lonnie, it's been great having you with us. You've got such a depth of experience. We probably could use 2 or 3 more segments to flesh it all out. But this has been a very intriguing hour, and Paul and I both thank you for joining us today on Franchise Today and helping celebrate Veterans Month as we learn more about Kix Mobile. Thanks, Lonnie.
Absolutely. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Well, Paul?
Well, Stan,
it's your turn.
Another
it's your turn
show.
Today.
And, so next Wednesday, our listeners will be able to access any one of 350-plus Franchise Today shows, because we'll be either traveling or sitting down at home getting ready for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. We have so many people traveling. Please be safe. And then we'll be coming back the week after Thanksgiving. Obviously, we'll be live again for 3 shows in December until we take a break for Christmas and New Year's.
You're so kind, Paul. I was going to say these 2 turkeys are taking the week off, but go ahead. We'll have it your way instead.
Yes, these 2 turkeys are taking the week off. Well, it was a good show today. I really wish Lonnie the best of luck. I love the fact of somebody that just keeps going back and, developing new concepts and rolling them out, and the passion that he's got behind this, though. And from what I've seen, he's really making the right moves. So wish him well. All looks good.
And,
so Stan,
and
that's it.
I was going to give a shout-out to Paul Wolpert, too, who's part of his executive team, who's been a good friend of ours for years, at the helm as CEO, and we didn't get a word in about Paul today, so let not this hour end without a hey, Paul. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too, buddy.
Yeah, ironically, I'm in Orlando, he's in Orlando, and we were going to get together. He was here at the FBA conference, and I guess he was so busy and I was so busy. Trying to think, I think I got a glimpse of him, which, of course, not hard to do. Him and I are both very big guys. And but then he disappeared. He's, someplace else. I think he's down in South Florida today. But, he's one of the great ones in franchising. I wish them the best of luck. So until next week, my name is Paul Segreto, wishing you the best, the very best in this great, great thing called franchising. And with that, let Badlands take us home.
Franchise Pros, Stan the Man, Paul Segreto. Time to show you the way of franchising today. Hey, do you possess the spirit of an entrepreneur? Wanna lay your business plan down like a rug or a floor? Or maybe you have a dream of opening a chain of delis, or whatever passion lights that pilot light under your belly. Or do you want to start a business, fam, using the proven trademark from another brand? And grow together and expand like a rage of fire, from a single to a multi-unit empire. Well, pay attention to this podcast that you hear streaming in HD, so fine-tune both of your ears. And Stan and Paul lays down the law. Whether you want to be a franchisee or a franchisor, it's all about sustainable growth, the sensible franchising, proven concepts, the smart enterprising. So use your left and right side of your brain and absorb this knowledge here. Franchising today, Badlands, baby. Franchising today, sustainable growth, the sensible franchising. Franchise today, sustainable growth, the sensible franchising. Franchising today, franchising today, franchising today, yeah.
When it's PCS time, you know the drill. Pack, research the new base, get the kids in school, because family supports family. At American Public University, we support military families with flexible, affordable online education that moves with you. As a military spouse, your tuition rate is the same as your partner's, just $250 per credit hour. American Public University, education that moves with you. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.